Hey everybody, welcome to the Armory today. Today we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to the Mosin. So, we've got our Mosin test rifle and we're going to start shooting, testing out various ammo and configurations of the Mosin. And as you already know, here is the 1930 Tula hex receiver that Bubba had destroyed, and I've got it set back up. The only modifications that are done to it is the bent bolt handle and of course the scope rail, and that'll at least give us a fairly accurate idea of how repeatable accuracy wise the rifle is. Now, it's in a full military 9130 stock. It is full length barrel, and it has a military trigger, which, if you are unaware of Mosin Nagant's triggers, they are pretty terrible. They've got a lot of slop. They are mushy. They are vague. Generally, you'll feel what is often described as grit in the trigger, and then just randomly they go off. They are not known for their trigger greatness, if you will. But let's talk about this rifle. So this rifle was adopted in 1891 by the Tsarist Russian Empire, in a configuration called the M91, which is about 4 inches longer than the standard 9130s, which you see for sale everywhere, which were commonly sub $100 rifles for years and years and years, and everybody and their brother had one, has one, shot one, grew up shooting one, takes them hunting. They are a good all-around rifle, but they have also gotten a really bad reputation, often referred to as a garbage rod, and I think that is not fair to the Mosin Nagant, and I believe most of it probably comes down to ammo and barrels. And what I mean about that, there's another rifle that gets a terrible reputation, and it's the Italian Carcano, the 6.5 Carcano. Now, the 6.5 Carcano is just a great rifle. They're known as one of the best shooting rifles. They're very soft to shoot, very hard-hitting 6.5, round-nosed bullets. They were very good for their military, until Americans got a hold of them. And they got a very bad reputation in America. American 6.5 is .264 caliber. The Italian 6.5 is .268 caliber. And that 0.004 of an inch is really big when it comes to a bullet. And a lot of people throughout the years have said that, well, the Carcanos are terribly inaccurate. They're not good shooters, and that really stems back, I believe, to the fact that there's basically an ammo mismatch between what Americans call a 6.5 and what the Italians call a 6.5. So, even to this day, .268 caliber bullets are not a standard size. So let's juxtapose that with the Mosin Nagant. Now, this rifle is slugged at .312. Now, let's look at a couple of really common surpluses we're going to find. Now, this is white tip, it's light ball, steel case, copper jacketed over a mild steel core. This is probably the most common ammunition surplus that America has gotten over the years. And this is really going to tell an interesting story. So if we look at this, that is 309. Now a 309 bullet getting chucked down a 312 barrel is not going to be terribly accurate. And it really doesn't matter what you do to try to accurize it. That is a mismatch that is going to really just lead to inaccurate shots, and there is nothing much you can do about it. Now this is a yellow tip. This is Bulgarian. It is brass cased. It is lead core, copper jacketed bullet, but it is surplus. It is corrosive. So if you're wanting to shoot this as an alternative to corrosive, it is not. But what we see here is we've got right at 310. So this is a little bit better, but still we're 0.02 off of where the bore measures at. So here is Sierra Match Kings, and they list these as Russian 7.62, 303 British, or 7.7 Japanese, I believe. And these are 311. So these are Sierra Match King 311s. And these right now are the best choice for Mosin Nagants, but it's still 1,000th shy. But you're on the right path. And these actually get very, very good accuracy out of them versus surplus. And obviously surplus is surplus. It is not made to really high standards. This is not 7-in-1 sniper ammunition. This is literally, PKM machine gun ammo, stuff like that. This is just your regular old infantry ammunition, no frills. So I don't expect to get terribly good groups. I think the rifle twist is favoring the heavier bullet. It does not stabilize the lighter bullet nearly as good from what I've read. It really wants the higher grain bullets. The 175, 180 grain bullets seem to be where the barrel stabilization is going to be at its optimum. So we're going to test the light ball, considering that is what is most common. And already, right off the bat, it's got 2 strikes against it. So the twist of the rifle barrel and the small diameter of the bullet are both going to really impede accuracy. And that is where I believe most of the negativity when it comes to the Mosin Nagant really comes from, is the fact that there really has not been good surplus bullets available that shoot out of the Mosin well. Because let's face it, throughout the years, everybody wanted the surplus. No one wanted to spend $1 a round to shoot good quality, new manufactured ammo. So we're going to test the light ball. We're going to test the heavy ball. We're going to test PPU, new manufactured PPU in 174 grain full metal jacket. And then we're going to test some of my pet hand loads. And we're going to see, is the Mosin Nagant actually a garbage rod? Or has it gotten a bad reputation because of the ammo that was most shot out of it? And from my experiences, I believe that it is really going to come down to the ammunition that you're feeding into it, despite the fact that the guns were made very sloppily. They were made generally on worn-out tooling. They They do have very high interchangeability of parts, which is why you often find guns that are just horribly mismatched. But when it comes down to it, they actually function. Now, in 1891, when the M91 was adopted, it actually served the Russians in the Russo-Japanese War. Right after that, it found its way into World War I, where even U.S. manufacturers, Remington and New England Westinghouse, were making Mosin Nagants for the Russians because they could not keep up with the amount of rifles they were actually losing in the war. Come World War II, it was still the standard rifle, not only for infantry, but also being used as a sniper. And the sniper program started in the 1930s. The PE, the PEM, and eventually the PU sniper, which is what most people imagine when they see a Mosin Nagant sniper rifle. And those were very, very successful. I don't know if there was a standard sniper ammunition back in the 40s during World War II. I kind of doubt it. But I also wonder if the ammo that was being manufactured back then was better. Russian snipers had great success on the Eastern Front. There are a lot of stories of snipers doing amazing things with their Mosins. And it really stood out as one of the great rifles of the World War eras. Now, after the Second World War, we see a proliferation of Mosin Nagants around the world. They were made in China. They were made all throughout the Eastern Bloc countries, the Warsaw Pact countries. They were even made, to my understanding, in North Korea. Not sure how accurate that is, but I have seen reference that they were made in North Korea. Back in those days, I would probably say they were maybe just restamped Russian-made ones. But I don't know. I've never seen one. But Mosins were all over the world. They've shown up in conflicts in Africa. They participated in the Spanish Civil War. They were used by the Chinese in the Korean War. They were also used by the North Vietnamese in the Vietnam War. And primarily, I believe they were snipers in the Vietnam War, because by the time Vietnam came around, the proliferation of the AK-47 was already in mass numbers. The Mosin Nagant, though, was used as a sniper in the Vietnam War, and there's some very famous North Vietnamese snipers that used the Mosin Nagant. So, after the Vietnam War, they were popping up everywhere throughout the world, and it was always in service. So during the Afghanistan war, Mosin Nagants would pop up with very good regularity by militants. And then in Iraq, they were also popping up in Iraq. So after major conflicts died down in the global war on terror, the GWAT years, during the Syrian civil war, a lot of pictures came out of snipers using Mosin Nagants in the Syrian civil war. So it is still in use today, and today in the current Russian-Ukrainian conflict, there are a lot of pictures floating around of soldiers with Mosin Nagants. Now, if you were to ask me, I believe they're probably finding them or taking them off of uh, essentially depot shelves and whatnot. I don't believe people are actually using Mosin Nagant in the Ukrainian war to any effectiveness. At this point, the Mosin Nagant may probably be dead, but Ukraine has always been a large stockpile for Russian weapons and Russian equipment. So for years, a lot of the Mosin Nagants have come out of Ukraine, from my understanding, that have been imported to the U.S. So it's not that uncommon, I don't think, to find a Mosin Nagant in Ukraine, and I think people are probably just taking pictures with them. I don't believe anybody's actually pressing them into service. There's too many modern arms over there. The proliferation of Western arms going to Ukraine, the constant evolution of Russian weapons on the Russian side. I don't see anybody falling back to a bolt-action rifle, even in a sniper situation. So that is a very long service life. So I believe the pictures I saw from the Syrian Civil War, I want to say it was 2010, 2011 time frame, when the pictures came out of the Syrian snipers, which was actually kind of interesting. They were actually cobbled together what looked like with Chinese mounts and Chinese scopes on obviously not original sniper rifles. And that tells me something, that the rifle itself has got to be accurate enough to be used in a scenario where they need accurate weapons fire. So that's basically what we're going to test, and we're going up this week. Looks like Thursday is going to be a range day. We're going to be testing the new red Remington rifle. We're going to be testing the first shots of this rifle. Like I laid out, we're going through a bunch of different ammo in its factory stock configuration, with a handguard, with a full-length rifle stock. And I want to see exactly what this does out of the box, as if you were walking into Cabela's or name your big box gun shop 15, 20 years ago, and you see the Mosin hanging on the wall. What kind of accuracy should you expect with a garden variety? There's no witch work, nothing done to this. This is just a shooter grade 9130 with a scope on it. And let's see what ammo we can actually get to some decent results on paper. So we're going to start this test on Thursday. We're also going to break in the red and black Remington, and we're also going to test and sight in the scope on the daughter's M1917 30-06. So Thursday is going to be a big day. We're going to put a lot of rounds through this rifle and see exactly what results we can get, and what most shooters should expect if you were to walk into Bud's gun shop and grab a 9130. What should you expect from the ammo you're feeding it? Because I can tell you right now, there's a big difference. So I will get everything packed up, and I've got work the next 2 days, and then I've got some time off. So we're going to hit the range hot and heavy over the next couple of weeks, and I will see you guys at the range. Bye.